So the first thing we're going to do here is inside data we're going to set our lives. So when our game starts we're going to have 3 lives. So click inside the box, type the number 3, press the green flag, and you'll see your lives up here change to 3, which is great. But when is the computer going to know that our game is finished? Well, it's going to know our game is finished when our lives get all the way down to 0. So if you go to Control, you will see something called Wait Until. And if you pick it up and put it here, and we're going to say wait until our lives equal 0. So if you go to Operators for me, another box we haven't really used before, and if you go to 7 down, you'll see the equal sign. And if you pick it up, it fits nicely inside this little box. So wait until blank equals blank. So our next thing we have to do is we need to get lives inside that first box and 0 inside the second box. So if you go to data, you can see you've got lives written here. And what you can do is a nice little trick here is you can actually pick it up. Pick up lives and put it inside the first box. And in the second box, you can click inside and type in 0. So what are you going to do? So we're going to wait until lives equals 0. And as soon as that happens, what you're going to do then is you're going to stop the game. Okay, so set lives to 3, wait until lives are 0, and stop all. Now we can't test this game yet because we can't lose lives yet because we haven't got a character that's going to take our lives away. So what better time now to bring in our bad sprite. So I'm just going to quickly now, so you'll see how important this piece of code is now later. So we'll go to our new sprite and we'll go to animals and we're going to bring in dog 2. So here's our dog, and he's going to be chasing our cat. And the little 4-year-olds now that are going to be playing this game are going to have great fun at avoiding our dog. But we have to get the simple stuff out of the way first. So what I want you guys to do now is click on the information box and give your dog a name. So I'm going to call mine Brute. Okay, and I'm going to make sure after I've named my dog that he never goes upside down. Click on that. Perfect. Okay, so there is Brute. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to consider, if I quickly go on my stage here, back to my backdrops, I need to consider where exactly, if I press the green flag, that's where my cat starts. Where exactly do I want my dog to start? I want my dog to start somewhere around here. Okay, so let's get the simple stuff out of the way first. Let's go to Events, and let's bring in our green flag. So when our game starts, where do we want our dog to begin? So I want my dog to start roughly up here. So if I go to Motion and go to, you'll see that we have a nice number here, 180, and we'll make Y 100. So I press the green flag now, that's where my dog starts, that's where my cat starts. But the problem with my dog is he's facing the wrong way. So I'm going to pick up, point in direction. If I click on my cat, you can see in his code, I said when the game starts, go to these coordinates and point rightwards. But I want my dog to point in the left direction and to them coordinates. So I press the green flag. Now, you've got the two of them facing each other, which is exactly what we want. Brilliant stuff. So, the next thing we're going to do then is we're going to go into costumes here, and dog 3 or dog 2 sorry has got a costume here I don't really need, so I'm just going to delete this one. And what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly make our dog look as though he is moving his legs. So if we bring in, go to looks and bring in next costume, just connect it up, press the green flag, you'll see that he only changes his costume once you press the green flag. But what we want to do is to make him change his costume all of the time. As soon as the game starts, his legs are moving. So if you go to Control and bring in Forever and just put next costume inside there, press the green flag, you'll see that your dog's legs are moving, but they're moving far too quickly. The computer is processing this far too quickly. If you have a look here, you can see inside costumes how quickly he's moving. So I'm just going to press stop, and I'm just going to bring in a little time delay that we did before in our music animation, and I'm just going to change that from 1 to 0.2. And I'll press the green flag now, and you can see now that that's much better. So every 1/5 of a second he's changing his costume, which is exactly what we want. But what we want to do now, though, is program our dog to move around the screen. So what we're going to do, instead of having a big lump of code here that can easily confuse our computer, I'm just going to bring in another green flag. And if I bring in, let's go to motion, this is where all our movement is. Okay, all our coordinates are in here. Okay, and all our directions are in here too. I want to bring in move 10 steps. When I press the green flag, you'll see that my dog only moves 10 steps once. So again, what I want to do is make my dog move all of the time around the screen. So I go to control, and I'll bring in forever, press the green flag, and you'll see that he just runs straight into the wall. So our solution to that problem then is to keep him on the screen. And if we go to our cat, you can see the piece of code we used to keep our cat on the screen, if on edge bounce. So if we go back to our dog, we're just going to pick up if on edge bounce here, put it inside, and you'll see now that we have a dog that goes left to right. And if your dog for some reason is going upside down here, click on the little information box and don't forget to click on that arrow. Okay. So I'm just going to press stop now. When we created screensavers in previous projects, we went into the dog's information box and moved this line. But what we're going to do is we're going to alternate the direction that he faces, let the computer do it itself. And we're going to do that using turn. Turn, if you look at the arrow, anti-clockwise. So I'm going to pick up turn, and I'm going to put it inside here. If I press the green flag now, you'll see my dog is just doing these small little circles here, which is not what I want. But if I press stop, and I just change that to 1 degree, you'll see I press the green flag, and now my dog is ready for action. And it's our job now to try and avoid that dog at all costs, because if we don't, we're going to lose lives. Okay? So I just stand here in the middle, my dog is bouncing around the place, and as he hits my cat, you'll notice that my lives aren't changing. And the reason for that is because my computer doesn't know when to change the lives. So I'm just going to press stop here, and I'm just going to move up this block of code here, because these two blocks are working perfectly. And what you're going to do now for me is bring in another green flag. And what you'll find is the more complex projects you create in Scratch, you'll have loads and loads of different blocks. So we have a green flag. And when is it that you want these two to make this change? Well, it's when the two of them touch each other. Okay, so I'm going to go to control, and I'm going to bring in a forever, and then you're going to bring in if. And the reason why you're bringing in if here is because you only want the lives to change if they touch each other. If they don't touch each other, the lives will stay the same. But if they do, we want the lives to go down. So if you go to sensing and bring in touching and bring that down here, now it says if touching mouse pointer, but that means nothing. I've got my cat here called Bob, and I'm programming my dog called Brute. So if Brute touches Bob, so I'm going to click on my little arrow here, and yours will say whatever you changed your cat's name to. Okay, so if it touches Bob, I'm going to go to data, and I'm going to bring in change lives by. Now if I leave it like that, my lives are actually going to go upwards, but I want my lives to go down. So I'm going to change it to -1. So we press the green flag, and my dog deliberately goes into me, and you'll see that my lives go straight down to 0. And the reason being is that if you remember how quickly my dog was changing his costume inside the forever loop, what we need to do here is put a little delay, because as my dog comes down and touches him, the computer says -1, -1, -1, -1. There's an overlap there. So we have to put a little time delay inside here. So we just go to control and wait 1 second. So I press the green flag now. I'm going to deliberately go into my dog now. You see, and that's a lot better. And my game has stopped at 0 because on my stage we said when lives are 0 stop the game. And now when my dog touches the cat, we lose a life, which is exactly what we want. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do then is finish off. If we go to sounds, you'll see that our game is played in silence at the moment. And what you can do now is bring in play sound dog. Okay, so if I pick that up and I press the green flag, and you'll see now that there will be a sound playing when you touch, which is fantastic, which is exactly what we want. So that is your cat and dog game, and as you can see, compared to some of our earlier projects, we've got loads and loads and loads and loads of code, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's the first time that you guys have brought in a scoring system, even if it's just lives. And from now on, you'll see you'll be using lots of code similar to this to move sprites around the screen. Okay, you've got your starting code here where characters start on the screen too. And you've also got your first if statements as well, which is fantastic. If two characters touch, okay, changing scores, okay, or changing lives and such, and playing sounds as a consequence, which is absolutely brilliant. So I hope you enjoyed that project, and there's many more to come. So don't forget now to, before you finish up, to go to File and save your work, and make sure you save it onto your computer. Enjoy.